Hi, good night, everyone. Welcome back. It's your favorite doctor, Dr. Nero, and tonight we are talking with some couples tonight. We're gonna get some advice. We're gonna get, into their relationships a little bit. We're gonna mind their business a little bit, all right? So we hope that they are ready to answer our questions and to be honest with us. And let's just have some fun tonight. All right. So I'm gonna start with one of my favorite couples, Sharon and Dion. What's one of your partner's best qualities?
No. I'll have to quantify, and I think Sharon's best quality is herself. I think one of the seriously, I think one of the best qualities is her patience, because I've been known to be an annoying person my entire life, and she is patient. So that's one of her best qualities, being patient.
Okay, and one of my favorite qualities of Dion is his love for people. There will be times where he'll be dealing with certain situations or he'll be dealing with people that I would completely write off. People that I would say, I helped you once, I'm not helping you again. But somehow he has the mental fortitude, the patience, the ability to, stick through certain things without giving up on people. And that's something that I really admire.
All right, nice. I like that. I like how Dion said. Dion started to blush first, and then he's like, oh, all right, That's one of the easiest answers you could give, Dion, All right, short term, talk to me. What's one of your partner's best qualities?
One of Jenny's best qualities, I would say, is her strength. She doesn't know how to just quit or give up, no matter how difficult something may seem. And that's general. That isn't pointed to any one particular thing. That's general. Whatever it is, when she sets her mind to it, she's going with it until she sees it through. And I would say that's definitely one of the best qualities.
All right, I butcher names from time to time. Yes, wow. Janae. Am I correct? Yes.
Yes.
Right.
One of my husband's best qualities, well, the main thing for me is the fact that he is a provider and he will do anything to make sure that our home is taken care of, even if it is working extra hours, long hours, however you find it, however it is, he would go the extra mile to make sure that, our family and our home is taken care of. And that is something that is really one of his best qualities, because sometimes you don't want to be able to submit to someone who he don't know their head from their foot. I mean, you must be able to submit to somebody who really knows what they're about. So I think that is one of his best qualities, I could say.
All right. Now I like that you threw in the word submit there, and I will come back to that just now. Not now, but just now. Kaylin and Joseph. What's one of the best qualities, of your partner, of each other?
Everyone, I would say is a mixture of like ambition and persistence. Usually, to mention strength, and I think that could kind of be it as well, but it's like anything that he steps out to do, he really does it. if you know his background, which probably you don't know, it's a lot of strength and a lot of pushing and being persistent to get things done. His circumstances was not the best, and I would say, a very honorable young man now, and that's because of his persistence. Um, so yeah, I would say that.
Well, good night, everyone. First time speaking. Keelan's best quality for me is determination, one, and does that make sense, as she said? Her determination and her ability to motivate persons. And I, at times, I need a lot of motivation, especially if I have school or work or whatever stresses may be happening. At the time, she always has the ability to motivate me to keep going. And anytime I'm feeling down or stressed, I can always look to her for that extra motivation to keep going, to get things done. So I would say her ability to motivate me and her determination.
All right, thank you so much. So I want to go back to that word submit for a minute. Now, all of everyone here, are Christians. We believe what the Bible says, right? And the Bible says, wives, submit to your husband. What does that mean to you? I'm talking to the women. And anyone could go first. What does that mean to you? Wives, submit to your husband. I'm not picking. I want somebody brave enough to go first.
I would first, I would think like trust enough to lead, because submission is something that is not, if you're a very strong woman, it's something that is may not be very easy to do if you don't have the correct male, right? Or the correct partner. I think once you have the correct partner and you know that, okay, they are following after God and whatever they have is outlined by God and is according to God's will, it will be easier for you to allow them to lead and to kind of make decisions that's in your best interest, I would say.
Come on, Sharon and Jimmy.
Well, I will go next. In addition to what was said before, I think submission is, well, basically it's the same thing, is knowing that, this is the leader of our household and me trusting that he is taking his directive directly from God. Submission does not mean when, if my husband says jump, I says how high. But we have conversations about different decisions and all those things. But at the end of the day, if we have a discussion and we probably can't come to a conclusion, or it's something that needs immediate judgment, per se, I know that, okay, I would say, yeah, Dion, you can make the decision. And for me, that's what submission is.
Okay. Well, based on what everybody said in terms of being able to trust their partner to either make certain decisions or do things without having to consult you, so to speak, because you know that, okay, my husband has my best interest at heart, so he would make the best decision that would benefit both of us. But also, it does not mean that the wife is less than her husband because she is, basically submitting to her husband, but at the same time, we are there to help. And the mere fact that we can trust that, okay, we know that you're going to do something that is beneficial to us, then it should not be hard to submit to your partner. So that is what I think that submission kind of really is.
All right, thank you. And I'm staying with you to ask the next question.
Okay.
How did you know that your partner was the one? Well, I'm saying the one in quotes, but how did you know your partner was the one?
So at the time when we were I don't say we're dating, but we just started talking. I was actually speaking to somebody else, and I'm an overthinker sometimes, right? It depends on what it is. I would think ahead in terms of like, can I see myself, building a family, starting, like I went all in because I was committed to be in a relationship with somebody at the time. And I was speaking to someone and I wasn't getting that gut feeling, if I'm being quite honest. And Joe and I just started talking, and it wasn't anything deep or it wasn't anything, it was just plain conversations. But I realized like there were a lot of qualities that I saw in him, even from like our very first conversations, that I'm like, I wonder if I could really see myself with this guy. And my energy just automatically moved from the other guy to Joe. Other guy to Joe. And I mean, it's from there our relationship started to build. And I was like, okay, this is somebody that I can actually see myself with, based on, the conversations weren't just about, hi, how you going? Everything good. It wasn't like that. It was, conversations that we could have without there being an awkward moment. And it was really interesting to me to get to know him as a person. So that is how our relationship actually started. And that is how I knew that, yeah, he was the one. So, yeah.
All right. Joe boy, huh?
Yeah, the other man just lost. The man lost. Yeah.
Oh, that's what happened.
Yeah, but she wasn't getting it. I'm thinking, nah, the other man just didn't add up. Yeah, I reached and she realized, nah, that is why I want.
That's what.
That's what went on.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right. All right.
For me though, I would say now, I am not a difficult person because I don't require much, but of the little things that I require, I need it. So one of the things was that I would say wasn't, because I'm not that much anymore, but I was heavily involved in music at the time that we met. And I would have been with people before, and I remember people would have given me like ultimatum to choose between them and music. Well, obviously I know what them saying what was chosen, but when it is we met, she already had a musical background. I mean, we met in an event in the first place. So she was singing, and I was just there like, wait, this girl could sing. And from speaking, I realized, well, okay,
All right. So I think he froze there for a minute.
That's a call or something.
Yeah. So when he comes back, he will finish his thoughts. So Joseph and Kaylin, how did you know your partner was the one?
For me, I saw
she
Keelan.
had
I think he's back.
No, he's gone again.
Okay.
Right. I had actually saw Keelan at an event like many moons before I actually met her in person and had a conversation. We got together. I had love for her, but she just going a little deep into a relationship.
What was the question?
Yeah, what?
How you know you was in love?
Right.
How you know she was the one?
Right, I'm
How did
getting
you
there.
know that?
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Right. And then she had a surgery, and when I saw her, I don't know what it is. What at that point, it just seemed into my mind that this is the individual that I want to spend the rest of my life with. When I saw her, well, after the surgery, obviously, um, when I saw her on the hospital bed and everything, I just said like, I need to be with her, and spend the rest of my life with this young lady. That at that point it just cemented in my mind. I don't know what it is, what I saw, how I felt, but it just cemented in my mind at that point that she is the one. All I had a lot of love for her before, but at that point when I saw her and everything, with the whole recovery process and everything after the surgery, I just couldn't let her go after that.
Me? Okay, how I knew he was the one when we okay, so when we met, I didn't really like him at all. Right? I was actually with somebody at the time, and he was really cocky, and I was like, he was just like really full of himself, right? But I guess he just probably wanted me to notice him, right? um but how we ended up, how I knew, okay, well, he was one was because after all of that subsided, well, we started to get to talking, and from the day that, okay, so I asked him to do a spoken word, kind of backtrack, and I asked him to do a spoken word for an AY program that I was having, right? And he said, well, yeah, sure, he will come. So at that time, we were just friends. So he came and he did it. And then from that day, we never stopped like talking, messaging each other. The other relationship I was in was a whole hot mess. I just didn't know how to get out of the relationship. I can't even get into that relationship because it was really horrible. Yeah. But how I knew was because there was no wall. So I'm a person that um, I'm not really the friendliest. So when you see me, I won't really speak to you. It's only if you come and talk to me, then you'll realize, okay, she not that bad, you know? But I usually build up a lot of walls because when I do let people in, most times they take advantage of me because I don't know how to say no on certain things. But with him, there was no walls. In terms of communication, I think that we communicated really well. He understood me. I could have said certain things. And he's a kind of heights man. So I could say certain things, use certain puns, and he understood those things. Like some persons, you just with them and it's like, you're not really smart. You're really not the smartest. So I think that was it for me when I realized like I could communicate with him. He could understand what I'm saying. There were no walls. Even after like when we actually were going good, he was like, "What are you doing?" Because then I started to build back up walls when I realized how easy it was for us to like communicate, and that's because of trauma from the other relationship. I kind of just started to build back up walls or causing like problems because it was kind of too good to be true. So I think that is when I actually knew that, okay, this is the one, this is working, it's actually working really well. Yeah, that was a mouthful, sorry.
All right, Sharon and Diaz.
I thought you were going to let you Tom finish, you know.
Oh, yeah. When you finish.
Okay. It's our long story and a short story to this, but I'll condense it and put it in the middle. I think me and Sharon had known each other for a while, but didn't really know each other. Like I know she existed and I assume she knew I existed as well. But we would be in the same circles, but never would talk unless it was like for meetings. And I remember going to a camp and I was like, I find my wife in this camp. And camp was dry, but it didn't have nobody at all. Literally just Sharon. Not to make it sound bad, but it really didn't. Like anybody who was there, I could have been verbal, I just like nah. And I remember one night we spoke and I was protecting her from this man only. And I wouldn't say I was protecting her, but I just say that somebody else harassing her and I spoke with her to just kind of make it more comfortable. And one of the things I realized with Sharon at the point in time that made me realize that she was the one was I could always be me genuinely. I always felt like talking to any other woman or girl or anything. I always feel like I had to say like, nah, she can't take this about me. I'll have to like put it up in a little bowl in a corner and just express it with my friends or so on. But with Sharon, every single thing about me, she was able to like deal with it. And not just deal with it like, you know, it's a bad thing, but deal with it like it's okay. You could be this person, you could be who you are. And I never felt that way with anybody else where I could genuinely be myself, make all the bad jokes in the world and she wouldn't take it anyhow. Or, you know, any sort of thing about myself that usually would be some sort of contention. It was always easy. And, you know, I also say that I knew she was the one because I think that there was a lot of things that from herself and from myself that kind of make us not talk for almost a year. And all those things just disappear. And then we were just right back with each other, talking again. And the relationship really kicked off that time. So I felt like, you know, God had a hand in destroying certain things and putting us in the position to be together. And you can't let that come twice and you just let go. So I felt like she was definitely the one. It was just like this can't be a coincidence, you know? And that's how I knew she was the one for sure.
Wow, okay. I knew Dion was the one. When was that? There's no particular time or place, I would say, but I am also an overthinker. So I realized, like, you know, a few months into the relationship, I would think, you know, what would our family look like? Kids or no kids, but, you know, basically what our life would be like. Can I handle living with this person, you know, basically for forever? Because I am someone, because of my personality, I usually either need, you know, a little bit of time to myself or certain people. Like I cannot be talking to people or in the presence of other people constantly because my social media just, you know, begins to drain. But after thinking about it, I had no objections in my head. Like I would try to make up scenarios to say, you know what, this would not work. And I could have never come to a conclusion where this would not work. There will, yeah. So basically, that's how I knew. Yeah.
Okay, nice. And Joseph, back to you.
To bring it out, and I was just saying, basically not everybody is able to deal with my lifestyle. I was always a person always on the go, always doing something, and not everybody could deal with that. And she was able to deal with it almost seamlessly. So that, and just as Dan said, the mere fact I was able to be me, that rare boy. I is a clown, so everybody could deal with a clown right through. And she seemed to manage 3 years later, and she doing all right, you know. So after that, I say, well, yeah, she seemed to be the one. I think I could have managed there, and I said, well, yeah, there's it for me.
All right. I'm only going to ask one person this question. Well, in terms of one person from each couple, this question, right? Why did you, I'll ask any question first, why did you, or for the engaged couple, why do you want to get married? So I want Kaylin to answer that question for me. I want Sharon to answer that question. I'm asking all the females, and I want, again, butcher the name, you know, Janae, to answer that question for me. Why did you, or why do you want to get, wanted to get married?
Why did I want to get married? I think it's everyone's dream to, you know, get married to the person that you love and that the person that you have a connection with and a relationship with, because, you know, you want to have a family, have a house, have children running around, have pets, whatever. I think that is when it is you're dating someone, that is the ultimate goal, to, be able to build a future with someone who you can call your life partner. And I saw that I could have built something with my husband from early on. Just the way that he would think about things and the way that he would, set his mind to stuff and be able to say, well, all right, we're doing this today, we're doing that today, and just kind of organize everything in a way where it kind of has me a bit relaxed, so to speak, sometimes. But that is one of the things that I really appreciated about him, as well as, I love him. So I love him. So,
we would hope so after 3 years,
as well as I love him. So that is, that was one of the reasons why I really took the step of faith and the leap of faith to get married and to move from Tobago, leave my family, leave everything, and move across to start my own family and, just explore life with my life partner. So, yeah.
I think that it is about growing. So as Janae mentioned, it's like that is once you date, court, because dating is I think that persons have the wrong view of dating. So once you caught somebody, I think that the end goal, well, at least for me, the end goal was marriage. So I wouldn't just go with somebody if I don't see a future with them. So I think that another thing that also helped me to know, well, okay, this is who I wanted to get married to, and I wanted to get married was because I saw a future with him, and I think he kind of reassured me as well. I don't even think he knows, but he started using like phrases like, well, we will so. It was not really about him anymore. It was like about us. So I saw that, okay, well, this is somebody that is willing to grow with me, is willing to stick things through for us to like work it out. And I think also in marriage, once you grow closer to God, you grow closer to each other. So I also we both need help, like in our spiritual journey. And I think that God also wants that for us, well, for his children. So I think that aside from it being every girl's dream, it is God's ideal for persons who court, right? It's not just about being with someone and just doing things that you're not supposed to do and then that's it. I think that marriage is something that you should want to share life with that person, and you should want to build with that person and to grow closer with God. So I think that's the reasons for marrying, aside from big house, nice family, and all the material dreams, right? So, yeah.
So I feel like there's nothing left to say because both, because the persons who went before me said, well, basically exactly what I was about to say, because that was my experience. So I could add something to that's not necessarily the purpose of me getting married, but something that was a benefit of me getting married that I noticed is that, you always, well, I should say always, but a lot of time you hear persons saying that, marriage is a ministry. Because, she mentioned church before, and that's what came to my mind. And I did not really understand what people meant by that. However, being married, I am seeing instances where persons may come to me for advice, or, I'm able to talk to my peers about certain things when it comes to marriage or relationship and share my personal experiences. And it has been able to help others, and it's also helped me because I'm now able to reflect on certain things that has happened between us. So I would say that is a benefit that came from us getting married. All right, thank you. And to the men, this is your question. What's the worst relationship advice you've ever received? The worst. advice someone
Well,
has given to you?
I grew up in um what would be classified as anything but a residential area. Um, and growing up in the with the young men in that area, they would always say, I mean, people say it today I know, but there's always say everybody does one, so one first. And I would say it's a real fecal matter. You know, you don't have to you don't have to go through that because I mean the reality is if it is you go into things now, you go into the relationship expecting the one, then everything that that person would do outside of your vision will have you feeling uneasy. So why you now want to go and live the rest of your life uneasy? Because when fecal matter hit the road to your later and it start to mess up the place, then you go in and be scampering and trying to find a way to make it make sense. But in reality, it's just a situation that you form in your mind that you're living by, when in reality is not the reality. When someone's saying, I'm going to talk about stuff.
Um, I never really got bad relationship advice because I really ask for it, and if I do ask, I would ask someone who I believe would give me um, advice that I can utilize within my relationship. But as Jota mentioned, um, a lot of my friends are amazed that within the span that I've been with Keelan, which is 6 years, I have not stepped outside of my relationship. All of them are amazed at that. And they ask me all the time, how you do that? I say, well, if this is someone that I love, why would I go outside of my relationship to look for next woman when this is the woman that I love and I want to spend the rest of my life with? Why would I go and look for next woman? And to me, that don't make any sense. I would rather leave this person because I see interest in someone else and put my interest towards that person, because to me that would be the best thing. And I always have this philosophy that I would not own or have an external affair, to put in layman term, right? With any relationship that I'm in, because to me that is the only thing that I would have. So if the relationship break up and the person do have an external affair, I could walk with my chest and say I never did that, and I could still say that I have been loyal to her throughout everything, and it wasn't like my fault or anything. I have given my all, and it didn't work out because of whatever reason. But that should never be a reason for me, because I value relationships very highly.
Um, I can't say that I have ever received bad advice. I think most times people probably just make like a shipper joke, like the woman had a cook, that kind of thing. But um, I've never really received bad advice, because just as I forget his name, but just as he said, if you're looking for advice, you go to people who would give you good advice. I not going and ask somebody who I know does be doing shippiness for advice on a particular area. I can't ask someone I know who does want how to keep your relationship, in good stead. You can't, that don't make sense. So I avoid anybody who could give me anything that's bad. I wouldn't even bother to have that conversation. As the Bible says, shun the appearance of people. So for me, it don't make sense. And I can't even, I was trying to think the entire time, I have not received like bad advice at all. I just, nah, that hasn't took it.
All right. No, I want you all to be very honest with me. Very, very honest with me. What is the worst thing about being in a relationship? And do not tell me nothing. Do
Say it
not
again.
tell me nothing. What is the worst thing about being in a relationship? And don't tell me nothing because I will not believe you.
Okay. I think for me, the worst thing in being in a relationship is that I'm not as flexible as I used to be. Like I can just decide I want to lie, man, is I like. And now it's like, well, I can't lie now. I to make sure that, because I can't reach home 10 o'clock just so again, you had to check in. So I feel like the flexibility that you had as a single person, even in a relationship, like the more like when we were living apart, it would be like, hey, I ain't reaching home till 10 o'clock. But no, I can't send a message like, hey, I'm not coming home till 10. That not going on fly. So I feel like the fact that you're not as flexible, you had to make every decision because if I don't come home for 10 now, if I don't come home on time, that means she had not to do everything at home without me. She had to help prepare for the next day without me, and you know, it just doesn't help flow with the home. So just wanting to do your own thing is a real hard adaptation. It's not like a shackle down, I can't do what I want to, but you just can't make any on the fly decisions without having a discussion because it might seem like a small thing, but it is real unravel quickly down the road and you end up in an argument over something that you just decide to do without having that discussion. So the lack of flexibility, I think, really is the worst part, but it's so good. But it's the worst part. Sure?
Yeah. So for me, the worst part, I am speaking from the marriage standpoint and not courting. So for me, the worst part would be feeling tension in a room. So if there's a disagreement or things are just not necessarily going your way, you feel the tension. And it's not always the best feeling, depending on how big the disagreement is. So for us, usually, I think we communicate really well, which is something, I would pat him on his back for and pat myself because I think that we communicate really well. However, there would be times when we have disagreements and just knowing that the other person is not necessarily the most happiest with you right now, or the fact that they are disappointed by something that you may have done intentionally or unintentionally, just feeling the tension. That is for me, that's one of the worst parts about being in a relationship.
I would just speak for me. I'm gonna piggyback on what you just said. I can't really remember your name. I apologize. For me, I cannot do disconnect because when it is you disconnect from your partner, that is just a wide door for the enemy to come in and wreak havoc. And disconnection is like I can't. I really don't like disconnection because I don't want at any time or any point that my husband is feeling disconnected from me or I am disconnected from him, because then we would just be in two different worlds living under the same roof. And the tension is thick, so to speak. It's like, I really can't do with the tension because I try to, come to a conclusion that, okay, let us try to resolve whatever it is. Let us try to, find something that works. Even if this doesn't work, let us find something that works. Let's find some sort of common ground so that we'll be able to function together as a unit, as opposed to being divided or being separated. Because at the end of the day, we still have to speak to each other, but let it not be us having to interact with each other where there is tension. So yeah, that's one of the things that I need. So yeah.
For me, I would say the fact that you now have to learn to coexist with somebody. let's say something as simple as you are accustomed squeezing your toothpaste from the bottom, and the other person does just squeeze the toothpaste wherever they hold it. That could be something real big for somebody, myself. Something real big for somebody, and for other persons, it mightn't be anything now. So learning to coexist and come to terms with other persons' living habits and stuff like that. Also the tension, because before, if you're in a relationship and something happens, you could say, you know what, I going home. And you go home and you probably just do be on your phone for the rest of the night and stuff like that, and then you wake up and it's all fine. But when it is you're living with somebody now, what the most you could do is go in your bed and then they come in and sleep right next to you. So you had to deal with it regardless. So it's not easy. It's not something that you get off the bat. That takes some time to get used to be able to resolve problems, resolve issues, because issues will come. But I would say that's one of the hardest things in a relationship.
So I just want to get a question clear, Dina. It is the worst thing about being in a relationship, right?
Yes.
Right. So just as I clarify that mine is not actually an issue between us, but an issue with outside persons. So being in a relationship, there's a lot of pressure from persons sometimes to be like the couple goals, and persons just think that okay, you're together and they like how you look together, and sometimes it's like we already just we're not perfect, we're trying to deal with certain issues, and then some persons will just come and it's like we need to ease up, so I think that is the most stressful thing about being like in a relationship for me. It's like we already have our stuff to sort through, and persons have an ideal already of what we should be while we are trying to find how we work together. So I think that is it for me.
For me, I don't really like have issues or a worst thing per se, because I'm really cool with mostly everything. Even though we argue, I would get over whatever argument quickly. But for me, it's time. That's me personally. Cause if I say we go in for this particular time, women have no regard for that. They don't care about your time. We leaving at 7, 7:30, we still there. I Patience is not my best thing, and time is. I really like to be on time for no matter whatever it is, and I don't think women take that as seriously as men do. Yeah, so that is the worst thing when it comes to relationship. Be prepared to always be late for anywhere that you're going.
No.
Yeah.
I want to just define my wife for a bit. My wife like a true unicorn. My wife hate to be late to anything. When you see she late, she does be more upset with, and it kind of weird now that we married. She's be a little bit late now, but before, if we move into, if I have to meet her somewhere for 7 and I reach 10 past 7, she mad like the whole evening spoiled. And it's like, but it's our traffic, like what am I do for traffic, Well, yeah, she timeliness, she's be crazy. Be like a little tension if we not on time. Anytime we not on time is our problem. It's weird, but it's true.
I was just actually looking at Josel's reaction when he said time, time. That's actually what I'm laughing at right now. All right. I'm gonna ask an easy question now. What's the first thing you notice about your partner? Like, what's that first thing that you noticed that made you notice your partner? I know some.
I want to go first. I noticed homegirl voice. Now, let me give you a quick story here. We were in Glowfest 2015. At that point in time, I was working backstage, and I wasn't playing for anything. Yeah, I didn't play for anything. I was just doing backstage and helping out with preparation and stuff like that. And I remember they were saying, okay, well, the show about to start, whatever. So I was making my way back to finally go and sit. And I hear this person sing. I started hear some notes, but I said, well, what trouble is this? How they gonna bring on the international act first? So then I make my way back to the front and then I realize it's this little Nashi Tobago girl singing and cheering on the place and the people on them stage. I said, well, nah, boy. So I specifically remember standing at the side of the stage and looking at this girl singing. And I was like, damn, this girl could sing, boy. And well, obviously, as I said before, those times I was heavily involved in music. So I think in one time we going and be the dynamic duo, some kind of thing. I play, you sing, you know. I reach real far, real quick. Unfortunately, at that point in time, Homegirl didn't notice me. Um, I remember I sat next to the girl and she can't remember me sitting next to she kind of thing. But then in her defense, I am dark skinned and it was night, so she probably didn't see me. But what I'm saying is I noticed her voice piece.
Wow, you just dogged me out there. But I so as he rightfully said, I did not notice him at all, although we were below the same tent, everything, I really didn't notice him. And it was not because he was dark or anything like that. It's just because I was minding my business because I wanted to get out of there. Anyways, so the first time we actually met, it was 2016, the first quarter of 2016. And the first time I saw him, it was by Joshua Ali's house. And it's so coincidental that we live in the same area now that the first time we met, we actually live in the same area now. And the first time I saw him, I was like this dude dark boy. I was like, he's dark. I was like, okay. I was like, okay. But that was the first thing. I was like, okay, you know, it grew on me. I'm not lying. It grew on me. And now he's like a dark chocolate thunder, you know. So that's the first thing I noticed.
Actually, so, well, not necessarily met Keelan, but I saw her at, I think it was the first praise break. I saw her at a distance with her friend, right? I saw the girl, I said, but this girl real nice. I need to go and speak to her. Left from where I was sitting, she was at the, if anybody know USC, that is what it is?
The New Building Auditorium.
The New Building Auditorium, right? So she was at the left entrance. I saw her make the exit, and I made the exit on the right entrance. So hopefully we'd meet somewhere in the middle downstairs. Never saw her, never met her thing. So okay, and fast forward, the band that we are in, Porter Spain Pathfinder band, was having recruitment. And I hear everybody talking about this girl killing thing, killing this. I said, okay, well, hope to see her. And then she came back and I just saw her and I said, but this is the same girl who I said I wanted to speak to. And from there, just went off. And her actually, the first time I actually talked, I turned away from her because I made a comment. Sorry for making it so long. We was traveling a car down to Port of Spain, and one of my friends actually told me, if you're looking for a husband, you go down south, and if you're looking for a wife, you go to Aruka Church, which she is going to now. And she turned to me, looked me dead in the eye, and say, "Aruka, I have nothing for you. Everybody taken." I'm like, okay. And just her boldness, because I have a very overpowering personality, just her boldness, that stood out to me like, yes, I need that, because at times I know I could be overpowering, and for her to be able to stand up to me and talk back to me and not just be like, okay, well, you go ahead, you say whatever. I need that, because in my family I grew up around a lot of women who I know are very powerful per se, and she knows that. So I need that as well. So seeing that in her, yeah. So that I noticed.
For me, I noticed he was very slim. I think he was also mature for his age, because when I found out his age, I was like, "Yeah, that's your age." So at the time, he was one of the instructors for the recruitment. So he was very assertive. and also are very helpful too. So those were some of the things that I noticed about him at first. Those were the things, but I think more like the assertiveness was what I think caught my attention the most. As I said, he was kind of cocky and he was well. So yeah, I think that's what caught my attention, the assertiveness. Well, for me, I did not notice Dion. As he said previously, Dion noticed me. Um, no, because as he said, we run in similar circles, but at a point in time, I did not know he existed. I knew his sister, but I did not know that she had a brother. So that's really about it. So I guess I noticed him when he came to speak to me.
Hey, I feel like the story. I heard the storytelling, but I'll say you. I think one of the things I always notice about Sharon is her disposition. She's always seemed like a person in control of whatever situation she in. She always calm. It will never really, even when she vex, I think you really have to know her to know she vex. And I really like that her disposition. As I say, she always carries herself well. And it's crazy now that when we get married, the way how she would talk. Because in public, she not talking. She quiet, she to herself. You would never know this is the same person until you really get to know. And I don't mean like, some people say as you get to know me, it's like you really have to get to know her for her to really be open. So I really notice immediately her disposition. She always has a demeanor that is calm and really exudes confidence as well.
Listen to me. I am glad that my mic was on mute. I was laughing so scandalously in the background. I am glad no one heard me. You all had me cracking up. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So our last question for the night, that was not really a question, but last question of the night. What advice, and I know you all as couples probably tired hearing this, but what advice do you have to give to singles looking to get into a relationship or married? What advice do you have for them?
I always start off by telling people what we would see on social media is not what a marriage is. A lot of the time we would see people, we would see people good times. Nobody ain't going to post when they're upset. So you see all the good times, people going out and you see them looking all happy, but in a lot of cases, that's just the happy moment right there, and everything else outside of that is some kind of problem. I mean, sometimes you look at people and you have no idea what is they're going through in the marriage. So I would say don't get married because of what you see, or don't get in a relationship because of what you see other people experiencing. Their experiences may not necessarily be yours. Secondly, don't get married to have a license to jam. Jam going and get played out real quick. After a while, you go and think to yourself, boy, I go and get married, and every night I go and be digging for oil in my wife. No, that is not the case. You're not going to dig for oil every night. Some nights you go and reach him and you're going to be tired. So all the mechanic is a mechanic and you want to get oil change and service your wife. You can't service your wife every night or multiple times per night. You will run out of blood and you will die. So let me be real with each other one time. Those are some things that people look to run into, especially as young Christians. They're going to say, yeah, boy, I want to have sex so bad and I want to please God, so I want to make sure I'm married first and then kind of thing. That is great, but don't let that be a main reason. Last piece of advice, don't just marry because you love somebody. There would reach a point in the relationship or the marriage, I should say, where love alone is not going to be enough to keep all it together. You're going to need to have something else that you will look to the person for and be like, you know what? You see, this particular quality, I can't do without this. Even though some of us feel like I don't want to love them no more, whatever. This particular quality, I can't do without. And I mean, it sounds like something far-fetched, but trust and believe, you're going to need to find something to hold the marriage when the fecal matter hits the rotary oscillator. Yeah.
Time in one time. I'll just kind of piggyback on some of the stuff that Joe would have mentioned. Marriage, I know that sounds very cliche, but marriage is a lot of work. I know a lot of people say that marriage is a lot of work, marriage is a lot of work, trying to make it sound difficult, but marriage takes a lot of effort, a lot of commitment, a lot of dying to self, a lot of seeing past things and working through things and fighting through things. It takes a lot of that. And as my husband would have rightfully said, if it is you can't find something to hold on to, that when the dark days come, because not saying that we want dark days to come, but when they do come, it's like, what am I fighting for? What am I still here for? Like, what is my reason for really doing this? You must have something to kind of hold on to and fight for that. And another piece of advice is keep God at the center of your marriage. Yes, we get married, everything is nice, whatever, but any crack or crease or crevice that we leave, the enemy would just come in and recover, because what God loves, the enemy hates, and God loves marriage. And as we could see it happening in the world today, there are lots of marriages that are just going down the drain. So prayer and just keeping God at the center of your marriage is very, 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 very important. So, yeah.
Yeah. I think one of the first things I learned, I don't want to say when I learned it, but one of the first things that I learned in marriage is that it doesn't fix anything. And I went into marriage thinking like, hey, I'll get married and I wouldn't have these things I'm feeling. I would stop feeling them because I have a wife now. Or, I would stop being this person because I have a wife now. And like a few days later, I wake up like, I am the same person, but I need to work on me, And I think sometimes people feel like if they will get married and certain aspects of their life will just get better. It do work so. It don't fix anything. You still have to work on it. And the beauty of marriage is you have somebody who dare to help you work on the things that you need to work on and to become better. So I think that'll be my biggest advice, that you really need to, well, it's not fixing nothing. It really not going to fix anything. It might even shine a spotlight on things that you never really was kind of there. It might make it, because, as Jutam say, living with somebody, you see things that could never be an issue for you. It makes it bigger, it enlarges it. So you really need to realize that it is the start of the journey, and it's not gonna magically just keep getting better. You have to continually work at it, and you have to continually be present and there. I shouldn't say our communication has been great, and if we feel like it's great and that's it, then it's pressure. We still have to continue working on communicating. So that overall, don't think that is going to fix anything. Know that you're still going to have to continue working on your relationship as long as you're in the relationship.
For me, I would say that while you are in the courting stage, to not just treat your partner as, okay, this is my boyfriend, this is my girlfriend. No. In terms of when you'll have disagreements, treat it as though you were treat somebody who you are living with. So you wouldn't say, okay, we have a disagreement, let me just leave this. We should be fine, or we're not going to talk about it. or something to that effect, because you run into a problem where you cannot communicate, where you start to, like, you drift when it comes to that. You are not able to discuss certain things. You may even become fearful of expressing your opinion. So that's a situation that you don't want to enter. So I would say practice communication from early. And also I would say that just because the person might be a Christian, that does not mean that they are for you. So there are certain things where you may require, there are things that you require, there are things that that other person would require. And for each individual is different. So therefore you have to vet that person, you have to pray, all those things to realize, to know if this person is really for you. And I think lastly, I would say, what would I say? I had a thought just now and it just went. What else would I say? Is that it?
Oh, you remember, I'll come.
Yeah, if I remember, we'll come back to it.
Can
But
I,
that's, yeah.
before we go, one of the most important things is that find yourself as an individual before you venture into marriage, because a lot of times we forget ourselves, and it's very important to know who you are as an individual and also deal with childhood traumas, because sometimes things would happen in our childhood that we think is not a big deal, but when it is you actually get into marriage, some things are like a magnifying glass on certain things. So we have to be so careful and deal with things personally before you actually venture into marriage, so that when it is you do get into the marriage, it's not like a surprise or things don't multiply or get 10 times worse. So yeah.
So I remember what I was about to say as she said that, is to ask the hard questions early, because you don't want to end up in a situation where 2 years down the line or 1 year, depending on your timeline, you are looking to enter into marriage and then you are now finding out certain things about that person. And so like a part B to that would be that the good things get great, but the bad things also intensify. Not necessarily to say that the person have hidden things that they're hiding from you, but the fact that they are living with you, so it affects you more than it would when you are separated. So that's something to look out for.
Um, although we are not married yet, I should put that in there. My piece of advice would be for people who are single and courting or intending to get married, know for sure that that is what you want to do. I think a lot of people are just getting married, as my friend said earlier, because it's the norm, it's what's going on, and it's not necessarily that. Some people are meant to be single and some people are meant to be married, and that's just it. It's just for you to know for yourself that this is for me and marriage is for me, and I could move forward. And I think I am comfortable being by myself, so I should be by myself. So as an individual, I think everybody should know that, because marriage is really not for everyone. Because you may see someone single by themselves and they are an extraordinary person, and when they get married, they are someone totally different. So you should just know for yourself that marriage is for you or marriage is not for you. That is my only piece of advice.
My own is, I don't want to forget. So I kind of just went to it. First things first is relationships. So I say relationships because, but relationships are not for the weak. It's a lot of hard work, as Shani was saying. Another thing is not to ignore red flags, right? So some persons like to see things and think they are fixers, and I can fix it eventually. So I will just ignore it for now and it will fix later. That doesn't make any sense. Do not ignore red flags at all. At all, at all. If you see something and you realize, sorry, fine. You realize you don't like it or you can't live with that, just move on. Don't waste your time. And the other thing I wrote was team. So I think we kind of learn this in the relationship that you're not supposed to fight against each other. Don't take things too personal, right? Take a step back and say, okay, this is the problem. And both of us have to fight to fix the problem, right? This is the issue here. We both want to be together. We both want to move forward. So we're going to fix the issue together and not fight against each other. Because I think sometimes if we don't step back and a lot of emotions in just rushing, sometimes they say things they don't want to say, or we should take it back. It's like, why did I even say that? I don't even mean that. So it's like, you need to think of yourself as a team working together with God through the problem and not necessarily fighting against each other or playing the blame game. So I think that's my 2 cents.
All right, guys, thank you so much. I hope everyone who is listening enjoyed, your stories, and will take your advice into consideration. I want to thank you guys for coming out tonight and for being open and honest with us. And I hope to see you guys again. Maybe we'll do a part 2. Who knows? Thank you guys so much. And to all of you, have a wonderful, wonderful night.
Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on.